Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Which One Works. In this series, I walk you through some of my logic and some of my reasoning for why one image may be better than another. Sometimes it's kind of cool to get into the head of the photographer and see and listen to how they think. And that's a little bit of what this series is about. If you haven't seen the previous episode, go ahead and click this little banner right up here and you'll be able to get taken to it. And so with that, let's jump into which one works. All right. So here's an image that I shot recently down along the Oregon coast. I was at a fishing harbor. I took my workshop there, and the whole point of going to the fishing harbor is to find interesting patterns, shapes, textures, and colors. And so I'm always looking around for cool things to photograph the fishing harbor. And in this particular one, I loved this coil of rope sitting on the dock. I love the repeating patterns in the rope braid. I love the coil, and I love that little tail of rope heading out of the top of the frame. So I set up my tripod and I shot this and got home and looked at it and went, didn't quite translate as well as I wanted it to. It doesn't have quite the visual impact that I was expecting or hoping for when I originally shot it. Now, my camera settings, I have everything set to a 3x2. I kind of live my life in a 3x2 world. Except when I shoot my GFX, and then I am kind of in a 4x5 world. But for this, it's in a 3x2 aspect ratio, and what I see, I love the rope, I love the exposure, everything technically came out good. When I look beyond it, I see the concrete underneath the rope, I see the wood underneath the rope, and then I see that grass over to the right. And that grass bothers me. It really doesn't fit within this frame. And I saw it at the time of capture, but I wanted this coil of rope to be in the middle of the frame. And so to have that happen meant that I had this grass over on the right hand side. So one of the first things that I did in Lightroom was to crop it. See if I could crop out the grass and see what it felt like. And so I kept my original aspect ratio of 3:2 and cropped the image a little bit. And this is what I ended up with. I still have the rope mostly centered in the frame. I've gotten rid of the grass. Everything looks a little bit better. But as I studied this image, the thing that bothered me and the thing that I didn't like is look at the tail of rope that's leaving the top of the frame. I had to cut off some of that tail. So here's the original, and here's the crop version. And I lost some of that tail, and to me that tail is sort of important. I really enjoyed that. If you see up in here in the tail, there's just a little bit of a curve, a little bit of a kick right before it leaves the top of the frame. And when I crop it, I lose that little kick. I lose that little bit of shape that's a small detail, but it makes a big difference. And so I did something that I found that I don't normally do, which is change the aspect ratio of my images. And I tried out a square crop. And this is what I ended up with. I still got rid of the grass, and I retained all of the length of that tail leaving the top of the frame, including that just subtle little kick. So I went from this image with the grass centered with a kick, life is great, to this one, no grass, I lost the kick, lost some of the tail, to this one. And this image really dictates that I stay with a square crop, a 1-to-1 crop. So there you go. for this episode of Which One Works. As always, if you have a different opinion or different ideas, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I would really appreciate that. And I know this guy over here loves this series, so I hope you guys do too. Stay tuned for more, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.